What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sleep Atomic, and we're continuing on the second episode of the Ahsoka premiere, Toil and Trouble. Seems pretty good so far for the premiere. With the recap, it kind of reiterates that it's gonna bridge the gap between the other shows and this one. I believe they were unfinished, so they can move on without having to make the rest of it, and just possibly because the people have moved on. Like, they want you to remember Ezra and look forward to Thrawn. And then it seems that they divided all the characters to the feeling ones and the more more spoken and logical ones. Not that the other side isn't logical, but they seem to go off a whim more and improvise more quickly. I didn't want to go all the way over to guys and girls because obviously there's some that are mixed and matched and different. But again, this is a female lead for the show, so there's obviously still going to be that about. I'm not going to get in trouble and say which is which, but even if it was one and I did say one or the other one comes in to complete or interrupt, because this is a working social world and many things exist. But so far, Ahsoka has been seen as grumpy, pragmatic, standoffish, and willing to help. But she generally has the same expression only because she was previously a Jedi. So there's Sabine maybe projecting a little bit and thinking that she doesn't want her around, but Hera or Sedula seems to encourage her that she is wrong, but only in a good way, because Ahsoka does want Sabine around. And we learn this while she's being nursed to health from the lightsaber jab and a few concurrent things happening. There's the other group with the orange lightsabers and the master and apprentice, and the third person, just kind of like the in between person between the master and apprentice, but he was given a name, Marok. Doesn't have his own apprentice, but isn't is still taking orders from the white-haired master. Maybe he was a straggler or something from the Jedi Temple or whatever before the master had abandoned whatever he was doing, but he does seem to reference the Jedi, and from an early age, knowing kids' tales and whatnot. I was wondering if Marok maybe like infiltrated the Inquisitors or was one of the Inquisitors. They all seem like the type that they would have a guy over there, since they're not exactly Sith, but they're not Jedi. They explicitly say that. But with Ahsoka in very close proximity, ideal wise and episode wise, I would imagine they're in the middle as well. And they're alongside the more neutral, but they did give us Darth Maul, the people from Dathomir, and they, I guess the females there are Night Sisters. They're more dominant because I guess they have more power. I'm not quite sure of the whole thing there on Dathomir, but I'm pretty sure they were kind of like bringing some Dathomirian people from there, like Savage Opress and Asajj Ventress, I guess, was from there too. But they were all uh, more Sith like. But I assume this is another like neutral party of Force wielders, or even more than that. It seemed like I just know the from certain feats the Night Sisters can do much more, and she seems to be teaching the master of the opposing party about the like sensing danger, or just more than just danger. Because even the Jedi were only like mainly had that for like emergencies, like the disturbance in the Force thing. The Morgan, the Night Sister that's with them, is can seem to divine more than just danger, than in helpful information. I'm pretty sure she could do the sense echo thing, the sense the Force echo or whatever that they do in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. You could possibly say Ahsoka can do that too. After she sees that Sabine's all right, she goes look for clues at her like communication tower hideout, and it kind of like vaguely has the night's prior events like vocally replaying, but she could be doing that detective thing. She's doing the whole like on a beat, uh, but she doesn't have like a fedora or anything like that. Although that would be pretty interesting. She has left the enforcing area of what she was doing with the Jedi to kind of go freelance. They kind of like hide it, but it's like the that kind of story. At least when she's like on her own. I guess it could also kind of be like the explorer Indiana Jones type thing. The character development or interactions are kind of like low. They're mainly like putting all their nuggets against the interactions between the two fighting parties and Sabine. I guess there's kind of a thing with the apprentice, and like everyone is gonna discover everything about the other characters through her, at least on that side of uh the navigational map thing. And even the conflict is pretty neutral too. They all need the same thing, or they need the same area or the location. So if you're gonna relate any of the intuition thing versus intelligence, just so we do two eyes, which is you can usually go on a hunch or a very well thought out plan. But instead of it being two ends of a line, it's just the people in the middle of, I'll say like a plus sign, the people at the top, and there's the people to either side, and that took any extreme, and the people that's at the bottom. So the Jedi, the Sith, and then the Empire and the New Republic. But all these guys are like right where the intersection happens for the plus. But even still being the middle or the neutral part, it's not really a real spot. Doing one thing or another puts you at a top or a bottom if you're lucky. And if you're just anywhere on the line, you could be a little too much one direction. So again, maybe to just fix the problem or find a spot, this can put any of those neutral characters in the blank space the plus exists on. Meaning, if they had to do something for the New Republic, it puts them into the broad space between the Empire and the Sith. And this little thing starts becoming one of those Cartesian coordinate graphs. The kind that the graphing calculators help you define and see. So it's kind of like hectic, but it's not really. Just to be simple again, it just gives you a clear view of anything going on. And you don't really have to be a Force user to participate in any of it either. But again, there's any of those defined values that don't move and is just the Jedi or the New Republic. But are you a Jedi Master or the Senators, one of the Starfighters, or just one of the soldiers over there? And this is doing two things of the decision and the necessity of having to change or adjust. And we get to see this play out with every character, but you don't have to follow all of it, but only the ones that you are permitting yourself to see. But it is kind of fun seeing them even through a different watch, if not even just the first time. Story wise, for the audience, it kind of looks like a lot of stuff is already established, but it's almost like free reign. But we already know that they've shot it, so there's a lot of things that they could have taken from the crowd and the audience that made this episode, especially now because it's the beginning. But it's kind of nice because it extends to before this, and then your expectations like are shooting past this like pretty much like normal, and then how and why is like above and below, or the horizon and the base of what's happening, what's looming about, and what we can go on. Like later, if you want to do like a literary analysis, you could say just about any story crafting or film making. Just that very like go with the flow wushu thing that they're kind of doing. But I'm only thinking go with the flow and the wushu thing because probably because Ahsoka's shoes there. So more or less, I'm a little easily influenced and making something out of the shoes Ahsoka has. I might go buy a pair myself just because I remember when I used to want those shoes like all the time, but I didn't know where to find them or they didn't have them at stores. I'm gonna wait, but I do have it like on my wish list, and I can't be inconsiderate because so I also gotta get the socks. I hope that's what the message is, at least later. Like, go with the flow. It would almost look like they're avoiding it, but by the way things are being changed or planted, it's something you could say they did or felt, with it also being obvious, without it being said or written. It's just more byproducts, even though it is just a action thing. Most people come for the particular action that it brings, that has that Star Wars brings, with the hopes of things existing like the laser guns and the laser swords. With the, oh, who knows, maybe something out there is kind of like that. But if you're previously already acknowledging it and then going to the breakaway like lessons from certain situations, especially at this point, it's like, all right, we get it, and now where do the people fall into that instead of just the stuff that everyone noticed first? Like, there is something holding it, right? Like, what kind of person comes across a lightsaber or a blaster or a ship that can go into hyperspace as if you were the people that provided the product and you were wondering who your consumers were. Am I a lightsaber person or am I like a starship person? Like, with all the free will and free choice, you kind of like get the items first and then puzzle out what kind of person you are afterwards. It's just a little more accessible like that. Not that that will 100% define you, but if you got this thing and you're going for a certain outcome with that thing, it's gonna define you at least while you have it. And then after that, presumably, most people would be like doing the relationship and the inner social stuff. After you go, this is me, and then this is possibly them with the similar knowledge with other stuff. And you could go up from there, like the bigger the item or the most frequented thing that you use, or even the most frequented place that you go to. And then you get to the little social hierarchy thing of just little plateaus of where everyone's at. Not even like this one's better than that one. It's just this one's over there and this one's over here. But this is a piece of paper, so this one's on top. Like, Ahsoka's not like trying to eliminate those people, but they're not wanting the more of them to like coalesce to where there's like another empire. That's why there's like a such an urgency. Otherwise, it should be like bounty hunting or something like that. But to go back to everything that we had got inspired to talk about from this episode is mainly them revealing to us the opposition of the non-Jedi and the Night Sister, and Sabine trying to get back to where she wanted with Ahsoka and Syndulla. And there's just a little bit of like world building when with the opposition being like Morgan, the Night Sister, having her own like little operation that's almost like a full business, just showing that side of things instead of just it being a rogue that gets on with another powerful, like a syndicate or something like that. And then, of course, our little action element when they bust out Marok and the droids, like working in like a unit. He's like not just like sending out the HK droids. He's like fighting alongside them, which I thought was pretty nifty for how the droids have been being treated and from where they used to be. We got our action, our chase, and a thing that leads us to the next episode where they have the little like ring or wherever it is that they got led to that with the tracers that the chopper droid had tossed on to there before they got away. No dead ends here. Even if they go another direction, it will only keep going. No one's like, oh, I'm gonna end my day here and just stop. It doesn't seem. It all seems like the same day by us all witnessing, or the same week or month. Even though naturally there's like travel time and like them sleeping or eating like that. Even if we were just to only in our heads make them more relatable and real. But yeah, we went from them presenting everything to us on the first episode, and now, while, at least for me, while the second episode was playing out, for us to consider and think about everything that they presented to us, not even just to guess the ending. For me, it's just for me to get more into the story and find a place that I will wait for while the next episode's coming out. And eventually, hopefully, the second season. For me, I think they could just lead off anywhere and it could go on for as long as they felt it was fun or doable for them. But yeah, this was Sleep Atomic, and I'm Alistair. Hey, if no one's told you yet, you look good, and it shows.